Hello, everyone. Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Monday. What a lovely Monday it is indeed. I hope you're having a very good day wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. And I'm sure you are. What better way to start the week than basking in a lovely 5-1 thumping of Manchester City yesterday? That was a lot of fun. It's not been the most enjoyable season, has it? It's been difficult as an Arsenal fan. I say that knowing full well that we're second in the league. We've done brilliant in the Champions League. So a lot of clubs and fans will sort of hear something like that and be like, "What, you entitled idiot?" But a lot's gone on this season, which has made it a bit frustrating to watch. So you've got to enjoy the good times. And wow, yesterday that was something very, very special. It really was. The noise, the celebrations after Lewis Skelly made it 3-1. Honestly, that will live with me for a long, long time. It was very, very good. And I know I did do a video yesterday, and I'm pretty aware that I'd obviously had a few yesterday. I'd certainly enjoyed myself in and around Finsbury Park in the build up to the game. And yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. Absolutely lots of fun. So we're going to talk about that in a lot more in depth, probably a lot more sensibly as well than the ramblings I produced last night in the video I did after the game. We'll talk about that. We'll go over the big talking points. We'll look at what Mikel Arteta has had to say afterwards. I'll go through my player ratings again. I've done a couple of tweets, I think. To be honest, I can't even remember what I gave this player ratings yesterday. And we'll go what some of you guys have been saying as well. Look, I'm very aware as well that today is transfer deadline day. And I'll be honest, there's not really anything for me to report right now. I'm sure you're all waiting to see if Arsenal are going to do anything. But at the moment, I don't have any fresh information. Nothing from my conversations feels like it's imminent. Am I expecting Arsenal to do anything at the moment? I'm probably leaning towards no at the moment. Again, from conversations I've had, I don't think the Matisse Tell stuff is going to go any further. They've had talks. I don't think what Bayern are kind of asking for is what Arsenal are really interested in, which again, it kind of makes sense because if you're going to, it sounds like they want an obligation to buy Matisse Tell, but Arsenal don't want to sign Matisse Tell. If they did, this would be something they'd have lined up a long, long time ago. That's a kind of opportunity that could arise this window to sort of fill a hole. But he's a 19-year-old. He's a sort of wide man who can play up front. Arsenal have got a few of those already. He hasn't scored this season. It takes time to acclimatise. It just doesn't really it just never felt like that was one that makes sense. Ollie Watkins absolutely makes sense because he doesn't need any acclimatisation. He could come in, hit the ground running. Arsenal clearly would like to sign Ollie Watkins as well. He plays as a forward rather than a sort of wide player who can play central. That made sense. To me, the Tell stuff just never really made too much sense, and certainly from conversations I've had, I'm not really expecting much to happen today now. That could change. Obviously, all it takes on deadline day is one phone call. If Villa signs someone, if João Felix ends up at Chelsea and suddenly they're more open to doing Ollie Watkins, maybe that's something that Arsenal could sort out in a few hours on deadline day. But I'm not expecting much. That absolutely doesn't mean nothing's going to happen. I remember the day when Arsenal signed Thomas Partey on deadline day that summer. I went into that transfer deadline day expecting Arsenal not to do anything, and suddenly 12 o'clock everything's changed. And so something like that could happen today. Who knows? But certainly from where I am right now, I'm not really, I have to say, expecting much. And I will talk about that once the window's shut tomorrow. I'll give my assessment of exactly what I think about Arsenal's transfer window or lack of transfer window, if that is the case tomorrow. So let's get that out the way now, shall we? And let's talk about football for now. And if anything does change, I'll record another video later. If I get any sort of updates, I'll do another video, and and we'll see how deadline day pans out. But for now, that is what I'm saying on it. And now we're going to talk about what was a really brilliant match yesterday at the Emirates. First of all, John Scarrett, I'm sure you're watching. I remember laughing yesterday when your prediction, when you said 4-2. I was like, it's never going to be a 6-goal game. Never going to be a 6-goal game. It's going to be probably really horrible, really tight, maybe 0-0, 1-0, something like that. So, yeah, apologies, John. You were right. It was a 6-goal game. It wasn't 4-2. It was even better than that. It was 5-1 Arsenal. This is the sort of game that you just got to absolutely love, especially the way that second half panned out. Arsenal were brilliant. They were so good. From the moment Erling Haaland made it 1-1, they just went at Manchester City. Obviously, scoring that goal within a minute of Haaland equalising just completely transformed everything. It gave Arsenal the lift they needed. It gave the stadium the lift it needed. It sucked the life out of Manchester City, who had just been celebrating, thinking they were back in the game. It was a huge moment. Yes, it was lucky. It took a big deflection. But again, I've been saying it, that's what more Arsenal players need to do in those positions. Just take a shot. You never know what's going to happen. Far too many times Arsenal players will not take a shot in that position. Partey did. The whole stadium was screaming for him to shoot. He did. And yes, it got the deflection, but that's it. It's that old cliche, isn't it? Of if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the lottery, that sort of thing. And Partey bought a ticket there and he scored, and it just transformed the game. And from that point on, Arsenal just destroyed Man City. They were too strong. They were too intense. They were too physical. They were too quick. Man City had no answer to what Arsenal produced in that second half. I thought they were a better team in the first half as well. They kept City. They did need David Raya to make 2 really good saves. Credit to him. They were excellent saves as well. But I thought on the whole, Arsenal got the early goal. Then they kept City pretty much at arm's length. They maybe could have moved things a little bit quicker. They kind of retreated a bit into that Arsenal style that we've seen too many times this season. But on the whole, it was a decent first half performance, and they deservedly led, I thought, at half-time. And then Haaland got the equaliser. Any time he escaped Gabriel or Saliba, he just got goal side of Saliba. It was a brilliant header from Haaland. 1-1. Partey got that goal. And then that the last half hour was just an awful lot of fun to be there and witness it. Lewis Skelly's goal, as I said, the noise when that hit the net and the celebrations when that hit the net, that's going to live with me a long time. It was really, really special. And just love that kid. And we're going to talk about Lewis Skelly a little bit later on in the show. But, the celebration, I know Gary Neville's called it disrespectful, but with all due respect to Gary Neville, in fact, no respect to Gary Neville, he's just talking a load of utter rubbish. If anyone was disrespectful, it was Erling Haaland at the start of the season with what he said to Lewis Skelly and how he acted in that game and at the end of the game, throwing the ball at Gabriel. Actually, I'm not sure. I think maybe Gary Neville called Gabriel disrespectful rather than Lewis Skelly. It was Gabriel, wasn't it, for screaming in Haaland's face or something like that. It's like, do you remember what happened last night? Footballers remember how Erling Haaland acted at full time and after that equaliser back at the Etihad. Arsenal players don't forget that. Gabriel said at the time he wasn't going to forget that, and that he'd see Erling Haaland at the Emirates, and it's exactly what happened. And he deserved everything that was coming to him from the crowd, from the players, and I'm sure he could respond to that next season at the Etihad and get the better of Arsenal and win the game for Man City, and then he'd have every right to have a go back at Arsenal. But yesterday was Arsenal's day, and it was a player's day. It was Lewis Skelly's day. It was a real moment for him. He's had such a breakthrough season, but to score a goal like that against the champions at home, it was just a brilliant moment. I loved the responsibility he took on. Brilliant pass from Declan Rice, who was outstanding yesterday to set him up. And he took that responsibility. And I loved Havertz's goal as well. We don't see Arsenal play that sort of transition football too much, but they did at times yesterday. Martinelli had the chance that was saved just before that. Again, on a brilliant transition that was started by Havertz tracking back into basically the edge of there and doing a brilliant tackle to win possession back. And then Havertz got his reward. Yes, it was a terrible miss in the first half. You've got to be scoring that. But, Havertz was exceptional yesterday. He didn't stop working. I just pointed out that moment where he won back possession and started the counter-attack just before. His goal was brilliantly taken, got on the overlap, supported Martinelli, cut inside, bent it into the far corner. Really happy for him that he got that goal. Assist as well for Havertz. Another really good day. And then Wanyeri just put in the cherry on the cake, wasn't it? With that, I had the perfect view where I sit. As soon as Declan Rice swept that ball out to him, you knew what Wanyeri was going to do. Everyone in that stadium knew what he was going to do. And it's just like, go on, bend it in that far corner. And it was just, from where I was sitting, you just knew it was in the second he hit it. And it was just the perfect way to end what was a perfect game for Arsenal. Perfect day. It closed the gap to 6 points. And yeah, it was very, very special. Moving on, actually, before I do that, I was just looking at these pictures, just making me laugh this morning. I was putting together. I mean, the Lewis Skelly one, that's going to go down in folklore, really, that picture, isn't it? I think the whole squad gathering around him. He's sitting there doing the Haaland impression. It must have been such a special day for him yesterday. The fans just chanting his name constantly throughout. It must have been, he must be pinching himself about what's happening this season. I mean, he's got to be pushing himself really, really close to getting an England call up in the next England squad. I'm not sure I really want that yet. It's like you can bide your time. He doesn't need to be called up really yet. But, you look at how he's playing. Is there a better English left back in the country at the moment, Lewis Skelly? I just don't think there is. It would not surprise me at all if he does get a call up from Thomas Tuchel for his first England squad. It's a brilliant picture, and just looking through all of those pictures there, the memories are flooding back. It was a very, very special day at the Emirates. You look at it. I mean, I talked yesterday before the game in my show last morning. I said Arsenal have to be clinical in this game if they're going to win. They can't afford to be doing what they've done throughout the majority of the season and failing to take their chances. And they did that. I mean, you look at the XG; it's just a shade over 1, and yet they scored 5 goals. They were so clinical when the chances arrived. Apart from Havertz's miss in the first half, they were so clinical whenever they got in front of goal. You had the one shot from Martinelli on the breakaway in the second half that Ortega saved, but other than that, they found the corners. The finishing was spot on. Everything they needed to do yesterday. Keep things tight, win the midfield battle, keep Haaland quiet for the majority of the game. Everything they needed to do, they did. It was just a perfect all-round team performance. And you can understand why Mikel Arteta was very happy after the game. He was asked, how he enjoyed it. He said, watching during the game, so maybe at the end a little bit more than usual, because it's a great day for us, for the result, for the manner we've done it, especially against the level of opposition that we played today, and what it takes to beat a side like Man City, especially like that. He says, to beat them in the manner we've done, a lot of things have to go your way. We were very aggressive. We played with a lot of courage and without the ball. And with the high press, the limits are really, really thin. We scored a goal. We should have scored another one, clearly. So you're talking about Havertz's miss there. He says, and after that, even if you want it, they are good. And sometimes you have to stay deep, defend deep, and suffer and enjoy those moments as well. We had a bit of luck in certain moments, and then we had the opportunity. Our intentions, our aggression with the ball, how we wanted to hurt them, the way they finished the actions, it was exceptional. And that's it. Again, the way they finished the actions. It's been the big criticism of Arsenal this season, but yesterday they got it absolutely spot on. And it was just a perfect all-round performance. And Miles Lewis-Skelly, obviously the star of the show. Ethan Nwaneri coming on and doing what he did at the end as well. I think the start of this season, you sort of, if you were going to name someone who you thought was going to be Arsenal's breakout star, I'm pretty sure that 99.9% of everyone who had their say would have said Ethan Nwaneri. And he has been. I think he's scored so many goals. What is he up to, like 9 goals or something now, Ethan? He's had an unbelievable season. But Lewis-Skelly, I'd have thought, if anything, he was probably going to go out on loan this season. I didn't think he was anywhere near ready, to be honest. And the way that he has taken to first-team football has just been absolutely phenomenal. The way he plays, his ability on the ball, his strength. He's so hard to get the ball off. So many times you think he's in a difficult situation, and yet will come away with it with the ball. He just bounces players off him. And then the way he took his goal yesterday, the way he handled himself. I know lots of people will say, oh, he's cocky for the way he celebrated, but that's not cockiness for me. That's just an arrogance. It's just a good football arrogance. The best players have all got it, and he's got it. I can't wait to see how he continues to develop. Mikel was asked about him a lot in the press conference, on the goal and his first goal for the club. Mikel said, I wasn't expecting it. I was talking today with one of our staff members about how he needs to threaten more in the final third when he gets in those positions. Ricky did it the other day against Wolves and scored. Our fullbacks are now generating these kind of things. The same with Durian. He had threat, gave a different kind of problem to the opposition. So great. On Lewis-Skelly's character, he said that's on him. He's been nurtured in the academy. He's got it inside him. He feels it, and he's very good at expressing that as well. Some players struggle with it. He does it in every action. He does it with his body language. He does it with his facial expression, how he lives the game. And with the ball, he takes it. He wants to make things happen. He takes risks. He takes initiatives. And at his age, it's not easy to see. Obviously, Nwaneri coming on and scoring that goal as well, just to add to the joy of the Hale End boys for that game. Mikel was asked about why he's put his faith in Nwaneri and Lewis-Skelly. He says, I believe in them and that we believe in them. That when I put them next to the boys, they feel that they're with them, that they are as good or better, and that's really, really important. They play with a lot of purpose. They play really to contribute, to make things happen. That's what I like about both of them. There's no inferiority complex, is there, with either of those two? They just look like they belong and they feel like they belong. And again, when I talk about that sort of football arrogance, when I call it that for Lewis-Skelly, it's just a belief in himself. And the fact there is no inferiority. So many 18-year-olds will come in to the side or could come into the side and be like, well, do I belong here? Are these guys too good for me? What if I misplace a pass? Are they all going to, be really angry with me? That sort of thing. A lot of teenage players will have those feelings. I don't get that with Lewis-Skelly or Nwaneri, to be honest. I just think there's no inferiority. They feel like they belong. And that's so important, because when you feel like that, you can play like that on the pitch. And I think that's what we see week in, week out with those two. Okay, player ratings wise, I can't remember what I gave yesterday in that video afterwards. I really, really can't. So these are what I've got. I've not given anyone below a 7. I just don't see why anyone deserves it below a 7 yesterday, because it was such an all-round team performance. Everyone did their job. Everyone worked so hard for the team. The press for the forwards, Trossard winning that ball back, turning the ball over early on in the build-up to Odegaard's goal. Martinelli just did not stop working at all down that right. It was just a really top all-round performance. So I gave Raya an 8. I could have easily given Raya a 9, to be honest, because it's probably an 8.5 or a high 8 for Raya, because when he was called upon, really crucial moments in that first half, he made 2 exceptional saves, and he didn't really put a foot wrong after that. So to really give him an 8, I think it's probably actually a little bit harsh. I've given all the defenders an 8, apart from Lewis Skelly, who I gave a 9 for his performance, the goal, everything about him. Gabriel could have easily given a 9 as well. I thought he was excellent. Saliba played very well, apart from the one time when Haaland got in front of him, but that's going to happen. To keep someone like Haaland completely out of the game for 90 minutes is very, very difficult. So I gave all the defenders an 8, Lewis Skelly a 9. I gave Partey a 9. Partey was my man of the match. I thought he was just really, really good yesterday. Obviously scored the goal, but his all-round performance, it's just a classic number 6 performance from Partey. Swept up, he turned the ball over, kept the ball moving. I thought he was excellent. Very closely followed by Declan Rice, who was outstanding. All the talk, it makes me laugh when people say Rice can't progress the ball forward, which is just rubbish. It doesn't make any sense. You look at him yesterday, and he absolutely can. He set up, he got 2 assists. Should have, and you look at the pass he played in the build up to Odegaard's goal when Trossard turned the ball over. That first time pass to Havertz and the speed of it was just perfect. It was just a brilliant ball from a player. And then his pass out wide to Ranieri for the goal was fantastic. He passed it through, into the stride of Lewis Skelly to make it 3-1. I thought Rice, the two of them, Partey and Rice in that midfield, were absolutely brilliant. They really, really were. I know Rice got man of the match on TV, but I thought Partey just about shaded it for me. So the pair of them I gave 9. Odegaard I gave an 8. Great to see him scoring from open play again. Martinelli, Havertz and Trossard I all gave 8s. I thought they were great. All did their job. Havertz obviously goal and assist for him as well, and just didn't stop working. And the three of them, really pressed well, and City just couldn't really deal with them, I have to say. And I thought Martinelli really enjoyed himself in that second half when it opened up a bit, and the game did become a bit of a transition game for Arsenal. And I thought Martinelli really played that very, very well. Obviously got the assist for Kai Havertz and was very close to scoring himself just before that. The subs who came on, Marino, Sterling, Calafiori and Ranieri. Obviously Ranieri, the star of the show out of those 4 with his goal. But yeah, just a really good, excellent team performance from Arsenal. We just couldn't really ask for anything else than what we got. And that's the league table now after the game. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it there. Arsenal 6 points behind Liverpool. Liverpool, of course, have that game in hand, which they play a week on Wednesday against Everton. Arsenal will be in Dubai, actually pretty much travelling back from Dubai. Then they fly out on Thursday after the Newcastle game. Spending 6 days over there, coming back ahead of Leicester. So, yeah, that's a big one. Can Everton do Arsenal a favour? It'd be very, very nice if they could. But Arsenal closed the gap within to Liverpool to 6 points now. How many points? 9 points ahead of Manchester City as well. So really important win yesterday. This is what you guys have had to say, or some of you guys have had to say about it. Got Dwayne there, says, what a performance at 1-1. I was worried, but the mental resilience of this squad is immense. Our academy boys are fearless. Very proud of this team. Ollie says, that's got to go down for me as one of the best nights of the Emirates era. Long time coming. We really needed a statement wing like that. Only the second time Pep has conceded 5 in his managerial career, I think. Love how we all supported Kai after the miss in the first half. Can we please play City every week? Get an early goal in Newcastle when there's so much to play for this season. Come on, you Gunners. There's one from Elizabeth who says, hope the celebrations post-match were good. I'm from the US and I was visiting London last time we played this game at the Emirates, October 2023, and I went to Tollington to watch the game, and it was a brilliant experience, one I'll never forget. It's been a few hours since the game ended. I still can't believe the result. What a performance from everyone. Felt so happy for the Haaland boys and thought Declan Rice was the beast yet again. Even though Trossard and Martinelli didn't get a goal, thought they did well. Hoping this result might raise spirits and give the extra boost for midweek. It'll be a tough game, but this sport can be unpredictable. Well said, Liz. Sunset Wolf says, Charles, what an amazing game. I was working trackside as a paramedic, so I was on my way home listening to the first half on the radio. Managed to get home before the second half kicked in, still dressed in my uniform. Then Haaland scored, so I ran upstairs, put on my Arsenal shirt, then sat in the comfort of knowing I turned the game back towards us, scoring 4 more glorious goals. I've never had so much pride in wearing that shirt. Come on, you Gunners. Carlo says, incredible performance and result. We've endured some very dark days against Man City, so we must savour, enjoy this result. Man of the match, Thomas Partey or Miles Lewis Skelly. Jermaine says, Partey was great. As much as Havertz frustrates, he is a poster boy for resilience. Failure leads to success. Great team effort. We needed that type of win against them. And then DP Bug says, what an unbelievable performance. Rice, MLS, Partey, Big Gabby, Odegaard, all immense. Come on, you Gunners. PS, for a moment, I thought the guy that commented in your video this morning saying I fancy a 4-2 win today had predicted an absolute worldie. Yeah, that was John. Of course, getting the goals right, not quite the scoreline, but getting the 6-goal prediction right. So well done to you, John, on that. And that's it for me today on this Monday. Like I said at the start, if something changes in terms of the transfer deadline, if any sort of activity starts to heap up, if I get word of anything happening, I will probably come back on and do another show. But for now, it feels quite quiet. It can all change. We know that. We've been here before. It can all change. So let's see what happens. I will talk about it tomorrow, obviously, in my show, assessing how January has finished. But until it does finish, it's very hard to talk about it. But enjoy your Monday, everyone. I'm sure you will. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.